I'm Dr. Shannon O'Day, and my specialty is literacy scaffolding. It's what I did my doctoral work on. Today we're going to be using a literacy scaffold that I developed for elementary school students in order to help them write dialogue. Now, a literacy scaffold is a temporary linguistic tool or strategy that teachers can use to assist students in moving to levels of language comprehension performance that they would be unable to obtain at that time without scaffolding, which is a fancy way of saying it helps students reach higher levels and learn how to do something like writing dialogue in steps so that they understand better how to use this. Now, a lot of times when students are writing dialogue, they tend to cram it all together in one huge paragraph and it's a giant ball or a mess. This helps them understand why you space dialogue and how dialogue in a book is much like what you'd see on a film screen, okay, or a play script. A lot of times, well, it's said, good writers have coffee with their characters. So this is a way that you can actually see your characters and use ideas that are found in film or plays to write dialogue. Now, I call this handout, which I would give, and I'm going to send a copy of it to you. It's called Fred and Mary, and as we go through it, you'll see how this works. Okay, the first part is, imagine, here's my little presentation thing here. Imagine this is a PowerPoint. You've got two characters in a play, and they're called Fred and Mary. And Fred says, "There's a dog," and Mary says, "It's a big dog." Fred says, "It bit me." You know, it's got a storyline here, a person gets bit by a dog, but it's a little flat. Okay, what might be missing? Well, you're not imagining these characters on stage. You know, what are they doing when they're saying this? What's happening? What kind of movement do they have? And maybe we could make the dialogue have a little more to it. So here's my next step and the next part of the scaffold. Okay, we're going to make it a little better. Now we're adding some stage direction, which I have kids put in brackets, just like you would on stage. Fred calls out to Mary, "There's a huge bulldog coming this way." Mary turns to Fred. "It's a gigantic bulldog with fangs and a blue tail. I think it's glaring at us. Do you have a gun?" Fred, looking down in disbelief, "Too late. I think the creature just took my hand off." Ouch. Well, we've got some movement now, and that makes it a little better. But again, what's missing? And long pause, waiting for people to answer the question. But otherwise, you would say something to the effect of, well, what are they wearing? Right now, there's no costumes on these characters, so you don't know what they look like. You also have no scenery. Imagine again, this is a stage, and you can't see the set. If you're a writer, you have to write and use imagery so that the reader sees it in their mind, so that they see the characters. So we're going to add that to it, and again we're scaffolding. And it might look something like this if it was actually on a page. Okay? While exploring the dense jungle on planet Exxon, Fred, flipping back his space helmet visor, calls out to Mary, "There's a huge bulldog coming this way." Now he's got costume on. Turning both of her heads in his direction, Mary quickly responds in a high, squeaky voice. "It's a gigantic bulldog with sharp fangs and a blue tail. I think it's glaring at us. Do you have a gun?" Jumping forward at light speed, the rabid creature made a leap for Fred and then quickly retreated into the tall purple vegetation surrounding them. "Too late," Fred sighs. "I think the creature just took my hand off." Ouch! Fred shrugged his shoulders. "Guess I'll just have to grow another hand." Now, from the very beginning with Fred and Mary, you couldn't tell that they're what? Aliens! And so costuming and imagery and how characters move really determine the story. A character drives a story. What I would do at this point is I have students come up with their own Fred and Mary scheme, and you could have Fred and Mary be goldfish. You can have them be 2 cans of tuna, whatever you think makes sense, and you write your own story for it. A couple of things I do is I make them write the dialogue first, then they put the movement in. Then they put costumes on their characters, and then they add imagery or scenery to the play or story. It's the same thing. Once you do this, I think students understand why dialogue is spaced, and you get much better stories. Anyway, this is my presentation for the day, and I hope you've enjoyed it.